And it is Thursday morning here in the heartland of America. And we have got wind. The cloud people are dancing around in the sky, and it's looking like spring and all of the furies that come in with spring. Being a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, and hopefully those flowers will get a jump start now and start emerging all around the city. How are things up north there, Charlie? Are you guys seeing the beginnings of flower season?
Yeah, the beginnings of that, and of course, I notice all the bushes and the trees starting to get a little bit of green tint to them. Even from a distance. So that's always such a welcome sight. So yes, yeah, we are. It's only going to be in the 50s today, but like I said a few minutes ago, it beats 10.
Yeah, it is getting into the 70s here on the south side of Chicago, and normally by now I'm used to seeing, all of our forest preserves starting to get that greenish hue, and it hasn't quite popped yet, but I'm
Yeah,
thinking by the weekend we should be there.
yeah, it's close.
And isn't it interesting how the illusion seduces us?
Yeah,
Because, in reality, we're always at the prime of, I guess you could say, the sun at noon, where there are no shadows, it's straight overhead, and it's eternally perfect in the true reality that we occupy. But here in this self generated, bizarro world, we have all these different seasons and all these different adventures.
yeah, madness. Just looking at a line in the course that used the word madness, talking about the illusion.
Yes, and that's reiterated multiple times actually
There is.
in the workbook. And it seems like the deeper you get into the course, the more the subconscious begins to awaken. And as we go through this transitional period, it's kind of like the bottomlands, the swamp regions between the two realities. And it intensifies things, and I think we're seeing that in the world around us. Everything's getting very ratcheted up. People are getting extremely hostile, a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear. And it's all symptomatic of what's going on inside our mind. And of course, there's really only one mind. So we're all acting out from the veil being lifted and are being able to see the truth and to really witness the error.
Yeah, that's an interesting perception because you know the darkness gets to be so deep it helps us hit that spot where we say, wait, there's got to be another way. There's got to be a better way. It's got to be a different way. And that little bit of surrender right there that is just enough to let that little bit of light shine through that we are now attracted to. You know, no, wait a minute. I want to follow that light. I look behind me and I see this darkness where I've spent my entire life, and it's not working. It doesn't function. It's insane. Look at the way this world is. Look at the way it manifests. And to start to understand that there's another way to see things is the beginning of this going inside for us. Because the answers are, as you mentioned, there's only one mind. The answers are inside of us, and we just need to be able to turn. And I agree with you. The beginning of that is hard for us because it's almost like we're stuck in mud. We're stuck in quicksand, and to do that turn is difficult. And yet we have a teacher. We have that help that's always been there for us. That light has always been. If we can just keep focusing on that or refocusing on it, refocusing, going back to it over and over and over again, the light becomes brighter, and the darkness and that suction on my feet is a little bit less.
Exactly. And we begin to get a sense of movement, whereas
Yes.
when we get to that, when we arrive at this point, we recognize that we're really stuck. And then all of a sudden, when we reach out, we start to get just, that little bit of a shift.
Yeah.
That is the opening that we've been looking for. In section 26, or in chapter 26, section 12, says, let us consider what the error is so it can be corrected, not protected. Sin is belief. Attack can be projected outside the mind where the belief arose. Here is the firm conviction that ideas can leave their source made real and meaningful. And from this error does the world of sin and sacrifice arise. And, when you really look at that, that's what we're witnessing all around us right now. I mean, as the political and social fabric of this reality has been moving forward, we've got, the Secretary of Education in government is a person devoted to disassembling the educational system in the country. And the Environmental Protection Agency is being led by a person who is, a committed polluter. And we just see this going on and on and on. And it becomes very clear that none of this makes sense. It's really an impossible situation to rectify. And that is the world that we have created. That's what it amounts to, is everything that's sane and intelligent is being toppled by madness, as you were saying. It's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party.
Yeah.
And it's global. It's not just stuck in, in this country. And that's actually a good sign that, there is relief on the horizon, that we are getting closer collectively to bringing this into the light. And then we don't attack it, then we don't resist it, then we don't try to change it. We just let the light, the truth, have its effect, and the madness will undoubtedly vanish right in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah, it is heartening to see the numbers of people that are learning how to turn inward, and it's not, I just see it. You see it in Facebook posts, you see it in conversations, or you hear it in conversation, you see it in people you meet. More and more people are hitting this point where they're recognizing it is madness, and they want to find another way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Course in Miracles. There are 1,000 ways to get there, but I do see more and more people that are. I sense more and more people are finding the opposite of that madness, as the recognition that there is an alternative way to see this world, because it is a picture that is so grim and so dark. It can be fearful if we let it be, if we make it real. But the other opportunity is to see and recognize that this is just an illusion that we, the Son of God, is one, has formed for himself in his mind. It's not true. And we have a teacher, like I keep touching on. We have a teacher inside of us that can help us see the opposite to this, and all we need to do is ask. And Jesus keeps reiterating that throughout the course. Turn to this teacher, turn to this teacher, turn to this teacher, and take this dark crap that you're creating and for what it is. So you were just mentioning you were in chapter 26, Chris, and what are you in 7 or 8 from numeral wise?
Yeah, it was section 7.
7.
Yeah, and verse 12 or 11.
Paragraph 12.
Yeah, it was verse 12.
Thank you. Yeah. So just looking at the next, beginning of 13, cause and effect are one, not separate. God wills you learn what always has been true, right? That he created you as part of him, and this must still be true because ideas leave not their source. So the truth of the matter is we are the Son of God. We were created by our Father, the Son of God is what the love is given to, you know. The love that our Father creates is given to the Son. And we are not separate from our Father, right? The mind that thought us, the cause, uh, has created this effect, and the two are the same, one and the same, and that's the truth, and that's the truth that we want to head towards. That's the truth we want to keep turning into, that recognition, right? God wills you learn what always has been true, right? That He created you as part of Him. Can there be anything more beautiful than that? You know, it's so glorious.
Well, and it brings us back to the realization that anything that we're in resistance to, in reality, is it has no foundation. It has no substance and depth.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a line earlier on that in this chapter, in 26, and it was over at in Roman numeral 3. So there's a group that I work with on Thursdays, and this is the section that we're in it right now. But the sentence is so beautiful. Complexity is not of God, you know, and there is such a clear picture for us. If we look at how we deal with the world and how we create things and how we judge, everything is filled with complexity. Everything is about separation and the complexity of it. And that's not part of oneness. There is no complexity in oneness, and that's the beauty for us. Is to start to catch ourselves creating these stories of complexity or buying into stories of complexity. Watching the news and the complexity of it, and the constant vying of one side against another, and realize just that simplicity of thought. Complexity is not of God. Wow, this isn't real. It's not true.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, one of our most cherished creations is the body. And we're always listening to people touting how complex and unique and, impressive the body is. And when you step back from it, that's where that statement really has a resonance, because the complexity of the body is its most vulnerable aspect.
Yeah.
It's made up of all these different systems that overload. It's made up of high levels of vulnerability in a lot of different regions. A germ that cannot be seen by the physical eye can ravage the body and destroy it. And you're walking around with your appendix. Well, that's a time bomb waiting to go off. And it just goes on and on and on. And so that pulls us back to really being able to embrace the idea that is reiterated throughout the course. I am not a body. I am free. And going back to that state of simple perfection, simple spirit. So this really does undermine all of these different glorifications of the body, because the body, it is a fascinating process. It is a fascinating thing, but it certainly is not miraculous in any way. And as soon as we can, start to listen to those ideas and get comfortable with them, then we start to see a progression of thoughts that take us away from the body.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because, you think about, you were mentioning this earlier before we went on before we went live, but the energy and the time spent, figuring out these complexities is absolutely amazing. And the body is the perfect example. Again, the money and the time we spend trying to figure out, the science of the body and how it works and how all the systems that you talk about combine one with another, and yet, it's energy directed towards something that's not existing, that doesn't exist, and if it's uh, not that in the illusion it doesn't serve its purpose. I mean, I'd much rather take an aspirin when I have a headache than just suffer through the headache. There is the magic of it, but the fact is that we get so stuck in the trying to determine what the separation is all about and how it works, we forget to ever think about. We never even think about looking at it inside and dealing with oneness as opposed to separation.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Trap. The real trap.
Yeah, it's the ongoing struggle, and the more we resist it, once again, the more it sticks to us. So the only thing that is going to resolve the issue is complete surrender. And that, again, is so against the nature of the ego. The ego wants to fight and, be victorious and be this shining example of overcoming evil. And the truth is that that just offers us an ongoing battle, because we can't die, but we can have our body destroyed over and over and over again, and it never actually is happening, but it keeps us engaged in that illusion of time. So it says in crucifixion, going down to paragraph 17, it says, in crucifixion is redemption laid. That at first sounds kind of scary. I'm going to have to be crucified in order to be redeemed. So, for healing is not needed where there is no pain or suffering. So, it's not saying that God is causing our suffering. We're the ones doing that. But God is patient enough to allow us to experience this in order for us to come around to asking for a different experience. And that's, it's frequently after great suffering that people have these huge, huge breakthroughs, because they have finally realized this need not be. I don't need to do this to myself over and over and over again. Yeah. And it says, so attack is deprived of its effects, and hate is answered in the name of love. To you, to whom it has been given to save the Son of God from crucifixion and from hell and death, all glory be forever. And so again, that's turning the whole process around to the realization that there is only one of us here. And every time we pull ourselves back from attacking those around us, from wanting to crucify those in our surroundings, the more we're able to withdraw ourselves from those experiences and ultimately rise to a level where, we can finally begin to sense that first step into liberation. So the miracle brings about the process of healing. The healing is the liberation from the fleshly experience. And ultimately, the mind is what is going to finally experience the highest level of resolution, which is no longer being a split mind.
Right. Yeah, the real healing of the mind. The recognition. I always describe it as so the suffering being, the pounding of your head against the brick wall, over and over and over again, the blood streaming down your face. You finally get to a point, the surrender point comes when you say, wait a minute, why am I doing this? I don't need to do this, and to be able to, at that point, say, wait, there's got to be another way. And that's in the crucifixion is redemption laid, so at at that point where we do that first recognition that surrender is the way out, um, is the beginning of that redemption. Um, and it's like you said, it says, "For healing is not needed where there is no pain or suffering." We've created that ourselves. We've created the pain. We've created the suffering. It's all about our thinking. It's all about our belief system, and all we need to do is recognize that there's an alternative, and then be able to go to that. So, to whom it has been given to save the Son of God from crucifixion and from hell and death, all glory be forever. In truth, we are the Son of God. We are not this body that's beating its head against the wall, that's creating this madness, that's buying into the insanity over and over and over again. So once we catch on, I was reminded, in a 12-step program, the first step in the 12-step program is basically it's saying, look at the world you've created. You know, this is your responsibility. You've done this to yourself, you know. And then it says, well, wait a minute, maybe there's another way. That's the second step. And then the third step says, well, why don't you turn it over? Go to this power that's greater than yourself. And that's really what's coming out right here for me. It's kind of the first three steps all in one. You know, you're beating your head against the wall. You're doing this to yourself. You can stop it, and you can ask for help. It's so beautifully simple. I've been thinking a lot about the simplicity of the course over the last week, and it is just so simple. Jesus says it throughout the course, throughout the text. He's telling us this is simple. This is easy. All we really need to do is change teachers. All we really need to do is give up this insane way of thinking, like you just touched on. For the wrong-minded thinking versus the right-minded thinking. And it's just a simple choice that we get to make over and over and over again. My feet start getting a little whacked out in the quicksand here. All I need to do is ask for help. All I need to do is remember that light is there. All I need to do is direct myself towards that light. Make that choice over and over and over again. And like I said before, the suction loosens up. All of a sudden, you're walking on top of the sand instead of drowning in it.
Exactly. And as we go down a little bit further in section 19 here, it says, abide in peace where God would have you be. And in actual fact, that's where we always have been and always will continue to be. And we just have to stop resisting the truth. It goes on to say, and be the means whereby your brother finds the peace in which your wishes are fulfilled. So once we step into that place of peace, it automatically becomes a shared experience. And all these different fragments of self start to vibrate to this, to this next level of awakening. So one of the things that we have to get very alert to is the instinct to diminish ourselves. Oh, I can put this off. I can do this tomorrow. I can do this next week because, it's just my own personal journey here. Well, the truth is everybody is on the bandwagon with you, and your contribution is of immense importance. And I think that's one of the things that pretty much all spiritual pilgrims have to come to the awareness of, that once you are on this journey, there is not so much an obligation there, but there is a sudden recognition that your contribution is necessary for the whole process to lift everyone up along with you as you continue to try to ascend.
Yeah. It reminds me of the earlier section about littleness versus grandeur. And Jesus talks about, this in this world of illusion, that's what we're choosing. This concept of not moving ahead, of holding your ground, sort of thing, is a choice for littleness. Why would you not choose grandeur? You are the Son of God. It's who you truly are. So why not choose this over and over and over again? That recognition, and in that you're correct. Since there is only one Son of God, we're all being lifted together. Nobody's going home by themselves. So nobody's being left behind either. And so, every time I make a choice, Charlie makes a choice to choose oneness over separation. It's a lifting of the Son of God. It's a awakening of the Son of God. It's not just Charlie. It's not happening just to Charlie. It's happening for all of us. And I think that kind of goes full circle back to where we were before, where we see, as insane as this world has become, the opposite is really taking place. The darker it seems to be, the more light is coming in through more and more manifestations of the Son of God. More and more people are seeing that there's got to be another way. They're making another choice. They're going to the different teacher and asking for that help, because what we're witnessing through our eyes and through our feelings and our brain just isn't anything but madness. It's nothing but madness.
That's very true. Finishing it up here down in section 20, it says, your ancient name belongs to everyone. So once again, we are recognizing that there's only one Son of God, and we are it.
Yeah.
Call on your brother's name, and God will answer, for on him you call. Could he refuse to answer when he has already answered all who call on him? And that, again, is another key point, is to realize that in truth, all of this is over. It never really in actual truth occurred, but we're still kind of addicted to this illusion of separation. There's still a tantalizing little tidbit there that we're trying to hold on to. And at the same time, try to persuade ourselves to be generous and to be loving to those around us. So the conflict is very extreme in one sense, but in the other sense, it never even happened. So paradox reigns supreme in this mortal life. And that is another part of the key to removing ourselves from the illusion of death happening over and over again.
Yeah, that, and going back to, there was that earlier paragraph where you were in paragraph 17, sentence 2 there, forgiveness is the answer to attack of any kind, and so we need to recognize that what we're truly doing in all our stories of separation, all our division stories, we are attacking the Son of God. We are attacking God our Father in truth, and we need to forgive ourselves for these buy-ins. The momentary, or maybe not even momentary, maybe lifelong lapses in choosing the illusion over reality, and forgive ourselves and forgive our brothers for anything that we seem to think is true, because it is an illusion. It doesn't exist. A dream is a dream, and not real. And so when we catch ourselves having bought into it and having made it so real for ourselves, forgiveness is such an incredible concept here, to realize that it's all we really need to do. Forgive ourselves, and coming from the heart, recognize that my brother and I are one. I can't make him guilty. He can't make me guilty, because there is no duality, just the oneness. Give myself the stories of guilt.
Yes, and to just let go, to just no longer resist it, no longer believe in it, no longer cultivate it, no longer give it any kind of life. And so once again, we're at that crossroads of stopping our inclination to fight this reality and to just release it, to just let go of it.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie, it looks like we're about a half an hour of discussion here, and next week we'll have Barrett joining us. But anything that you want to offer our listeners as to what's going on this week, this weekend, or over the next few days?
Well, we have the only thing coming up for me now is Sedona, our trip to Sedona. We have a Course of Miracles healing event taking place there on April 25th through the 28th. And we still have a couple openings. If somebody wants to hop on board the last minute, it's an absolutely beautiful opportunity to go inside and to deal with things that you might be holding on to, those things that are so fearful that you never want to look at. It'll be an opportunity to look at those things and let go of them and see them for what they are, and let go of them. So if there's anybody that is interested, like I say, we're going to meet on the Thursday evening, the 25th, and go through Sunday noon, the 28th in Sedona. And my email address is cssales, SALES, at sbcglobal.net if you want to reach out to me and get some information about that. We had our good news with Barrett and Charlie last weekend. We had nice attendance, although we had some communication glitches between Glenview and Hamburg. But it was better than the time before. So, but I'll look forward to seeing. I'm actually going to talk to Barrett today. Look forward to seeing him next week online. And yeah, so that's about it for right now.
Wonderful. Well, it's spring and life is regenerating here in the world of shadows. So get out, have fun, move around, enjoy that breath of resurrection. And we will reconvene in 1 week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Love being with you. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it was a great chat this morning, and you have a great day.
You too. Thank you all.